Happy Thursday, Paladins fans, and welcome in to the PPC. We are over in Europe to start off the day. It is Dolson and Kresnik, and Kresnik should be a slate of great PPC action for us here today. And again, starting over in Europe, which has been a pretty contested region so far.
Yeah, I mean, they're one of the closest. I think we have some good matchups all in all we're going to see throughout the next couple of days, but today we get to see ClownFiesta Chroma, Clown, a team that after the roster change with Prosper leaving ahead to Yoinkers, teams maybe weren't sure how they were going to look. They were still going to look good, but bringing in Ninu, I think, changed things up for them. I think having this extra flexibility that they were probably used to having is going to help them continue to cement that lead on top.
Yeah, ClownFiesta only fallen once so far. These are your standings through 4 weeks. We are in week 5 currently. So ChromaSpace a little bit lower to start off, has started to resurge maybe here a little bit, right around that mid-standing mark. So this is one to break up into that top 3. ClownFiesta trying to distance themselves over Yoinkers just a little bit. So you look at this matchup here, Kresnik, ClownFiesta versus ChromaSpace. Do you think standings just kind of tell the tale here? Do you lean one way or the other just on paper?
I think you should lean towards ClownFiesta, but ChromaSpace have a lot of talent that we've seen, I think, from Phase 1 into now. Because Clown technically haven't dropped a map yet at all. Those 3 that they lost was Prosper being asleep and then leaving the team next week. So they technically are unmap defeated right now, but Brightmarsh as the first pick against ChromaSpace, I mean, I'll keep this joke alive forever. I don't know if this is where you want to bring them, because this is the map where on land they look so dominant.
Remembering, I think it was last week, somebody decided to take ChromaSpace here for map number 1. The ChromaSpace ended up winning. Let's see what picks and bans have in store for us here for Brightmarsh. When I look over at Europe, though, Kresnik, there's this hyper-emphasis on Ruckus, I feel like, in a lot of these teams that we don't necessarily see over in Brazil, over in North America. So maybe Brightmarsh is a map where he slots into that. We absolutely have seen Ruckus on a map like this, so that's kind of where I keep my eyes on in that off-tank conversation, whether or not Ruckus still gets played over here in EU or not. Victor, though, banned out first overall. Genos immediately to follow up. So the Victor presence still going to continue. Not much changes there. And there's the Ruckus ban to top off or round out maybe the ClownFiesta bans.
Yeah, the Victor first is interesting because Vivian's still open, and Victor, I don't know if he necessarily soars above her, but Genos in response, I think, makes sense, as does the Atlas. Chroma might want to play a more aggressive draft because Atlas is great at stalling that entirely with Deja Vu or just by splitting the team with Temporal Divide, but Vivian available if ClownFiesta want to go that route could be a solid pick for them, but Andro, instead, verticality, going to be used on this map. You can go over the rooftops, you can play on top of the little lid above the side of the map and take some angles that can help you win fights if you can play that verticality.
Yeah, love me some Andro. Definitely love him here on Brightmarsh as well. Grover, an interesting first lock-in. The likes of Corvus still around. I think Corvus has been interestingly prioritized, I guess, over the last few weeks here in the picks and bans. Not super high, not super low, though. Kind of more comp-dependent maybe out of him. And then an Ashe to follow up. Do you like the way ChromaSpace has started off their draft?
I think so. With the Atlas band, Ashe I think, just makes sense as the off-tank pickup. She can cross a big gap, can't get set back all the way back to where she started right after. And Grover is kind of climbing as one of these top supports that people want on their team. Constant AoE healing, CC, and a great ultimate to save a team. Compared to Damba, it's a similar healer, but lower uptime on the burst healing. But ClownFiesta, I think, great response by them, Inara and Rom. Other than being dreadfully open to a Cassie getting picked up by Chroma right now and just tearing through them with big game, that's a very strong tank composition that can play kind of both sides of the coin.
Yeah, that health pool is kind of absurd right now for ClownFiesta, so ChromaSpace need to find some good high DPS potential to melt through the ROM, melt through that Inara as well. Shaolin absolutely can do something like that. Xin there as well. Guillotine, if that is the talent of choice. Very good at melting down some of those tanks there as well. So the question was, before these next 2 picks for ChromaSpace, what DPS do you choose to melt through the ROM, get through that health pool on the Inara? Do you think the Shaolin and the Xin answer that question?
I am a little surprised to not see the Cassie, because I feel like it would have been valuable there, but Guillotine, of course, will be able to kill the ROM if he has a little bit more focus fire, and the Sha will stop him from moving. So having that flexibility on Shaolin, I think, helps into the ROM, and he'll do well into those DPS as well, bursting down into Roxas, and actually stopping the Ying from using her mobility. But a Willow, I think, perfect fit at the end with no hit scan. picked up by Chroma right now. Unless they go Slugshot Ashe or triple DPS, they don't really have a good way to deal with this Willow at the moment.
Yeah, triple DPS is going to be the answer, though, here, Kresnik. The Leon may be forced out now by the Willow, largely being uncontested there up to this point. So you see all 5 for ClownFiesta. They've got a pretty well-rounded draft, kind of headlined by the massive health pools of the Rom and the Inara. And then ChromaSpace are going to finalize their 5 with the Leon. How do you feel about the ChromaSpace draft?
I think ChromaSpace can take this map if they're able to push on the left side, right? If they take that apartments and deny Tree from ClownFiesta, force them all the way back to Poke up there. If they have that space, they can do it, but it's going to be so hard to take without a tank kind of leading that push for them.
Yeah, Ashe is all you got if you're ChromaSpace, though you're pretty good on this map, historically. ClownFiesta, they take us here to Brightmarsh for game number 1. They want to keep their, I guess, asterisk blemishless start to the phase. They want to keep that one rolling here in map number 1 up against ChromaSpace. There is going to be some fight back, though. We've seen Leon start to find a little bit of extra value over the last couple of weeks. That damage potential still there, despite lower pick rate from what we were used to seeing around this time last year. A lot of that, though, hinges, Krez, I think, on the ability to keep this Willow in check.
Yeah, and Willow, I think, actually can kind of fight into it pretty well if you can use your DR at the right time, not necessarily hard peek it. And some Leons, I'm kind of surprised to see him on Eminence, because I've seen some Leon being played recently runs Precision instead for more consistency, because with Eminence, if you miss, you're kind of out of it for a while. Of course, you shouldn't be saying, oh, I won't play this because if I miss, but Precision, we've seen it in NA being played a bit, and it could help for knocking that Willow out of the sky.
Well, it's Ninu that's playing the Willow, and I'm so excited. I loved watching this guy play, all throughout last year. A very strong talent in that blaster/flank category. I guess really across the board. You stick him on hit scan, I doubt he's going to be falling off all that much anyway. So I think ClownFiesta, I mean, you look at Crunchy, Bolka, Ninu, Excentra, Alex as well. I mean, there's a reason I think this roster, despite one kind of, again, asterisk on why they lost that matchup, it's going to be tough to break through these guys. I mean, this is a storied roster for sure.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. And I think they have a comp that can execute with that skill, too. I mean, potential dive with Rom, Andro, and even Willow can go in. I mean, her mobility gives her 25% damage reduction. That's enough to slip past someone and win a 1v1 or a 3v1 if that's what they're taking with this dive, right? So we could even see a morale boost rush if that's something I think we've been seeing a little bit more with when Willow gets picked. You just hard push morale boost, keep ulting constantly, and make it so hard for them to deal with you. If Leon's shooting you so far away in the sky the whole time, she's not dealing with anything else, and that Rom and the Andro are so much more free.
Let's dive right back in and see how Brightmarsh can start us off here. 21% already for ClownFiesta. Crency doing a great job already of controlling this backside. 3 members of ChromaSpace locked in. That's going to be Ninu finding the first blood. Alex, Gruncy both getting themselves on the board as well. And Krez, I mean, this one's not even close. Alex gets a double. ChromaSpace doesn't touch a toe onto the point, and that's likely going to be point number 1.
Yeah, they just all stacked the side that I said they had to control, but ClownFiesta just had them surrounded from the start. Maybe they tried a little bit too hard to keep that space held, and Clown will just run away with it thanks to their double tank composition here. A good wall also opens the door for Crunchy. I like how he's just trying to kind of cause chaos, use his cooldowns. They have so much time for the card to move. It's okay to get aggressive like that as long as you can get out for sure, and you can see at ClownFiesta, they have this tree held. They could just wait to pounce once this card gets a little closer so they can force less fights.
Gonna be difficult, we talked about the health bar, and now you got a Faith Light to deal with early on in the game here. Alex and Ninu combining for a couple of kills already around the left-hand side. Excentra has maybe a clear shot onto Nepo, he sure does, so down goes the Leon, and now kind of stuck in the back line is Coriel on this Ashe, so the card is gonna keep itself moving forward. I don't know if ChromaSpace expected to be defending 2 minutes and some change into this game. But Ninu with the Faith Light early on really broke open the base.
And you saw them all shooting at the Faith Light too, but he just got away. He had his damage reduction, and he soaked so much aggro, the tanks were just able to kind of walk in. I do like the space he's taking, though. I think Window very, very safe against all those backlines that they have until someone finally dies. But a Cataclysm comes in, stuns Ashe. They can't get the follow-up just yet.
Adium snags the kill onto Ninu, though, so getting rid of that Willow, at least a small win. That's a whirlwind used now. Lots of ultimates starting to fly here from ChromaSpace. There is an Assert Dominance waiting just around the edge for Coriel. Should they need, they won't just yet. Ultimate starting to fly now on the opposite end. That's Illusory Rift for ClownFiesta. Assert Dominance on the up-down for Coriel. Gonna lock Excentra in, but the wall saves his life. It's gonna be enough healing on the back end to keep him alive as well. Oh, Ninu stays alive somehow. Grabs the kill onto Ovim around the corner. Now Coriel has to shoulder bash away. Nothing going ChromaSpace's way just yet. Excentra grabs the kill, and ClownFiesta grab point number 2.
And I guess that's why you pick up Ying over Damba when you really need just that raw healing throughput. You saw both illusions and the life exchange, all that healing going into Ninu. Everybody who could shoot around corners was trying so hard to take him down, but just barely able to get pocketed through the Ash damage, through I think the Xin chip trying to come in from far back. And because of that, they push forward to spend that. Coriel takes all of his health and damage, with Grover kind of unable to follow up, and that helps Clown really kind of secure things. That Illusory Rift, I think, also impactful for it, and Volka already at 26% on his next one. So ultimate-wise, they only have that Seismic Crash after spending what they did to capture that. Not much on the response, but I think Ovim is actually on Yomi, so in terms of impactful ults, ChromaSpace don't really have a ton, and I think they gave up their most impactful one in that Assert Dominance just to try to get that hold.
That's right, and they weren't able to do so. Coriel nearly got the kill onto Ninu, but able to stay alive just behind some of that map objective. Same thing we saw last time. Crunty just controlling this backside, and look at the ultimate stuns down onto 2. Ninu right there for the double kill as well. There's going to be a Fae Flight right on the other end. That's likely going to slow down ChromaSpace, but it's a same story, different round, where ClownFiesta just fighting from the point, and they're already going to win it. They had 60% by the time that fight was over. ChromaSpace, no chance.
And that Seismic Crash made the engage so safe. I mean, who stuns them? Who initiates the fight, right? How about the Inara capping the point? That doesn't have to do anything else. She's under no pressure. Throw that Seismic Crash in. Then Crunty runs in for free. All that CC that could stop him, specifically in the Grover or the Shaw, is unable to do it. And it lets them set this up again. And I expect a really similar look to last round. We're not going to see them get too aggressive because they want that cart to get closer. Let the enemy team, Chroma, push forward and take some space so they can do something like this in the back.
Cursed Arm from Alex, hovering around the back. Ovim did find the spite. That connects for a kill onto Ninu, but what have you lost in return? Well, the Whirlwind for starters, but Senzovsky will fall nonetheless. Crunty controlling 3, as always. Excentra around the backside. He goes. Coriel's going to get staggered out here. Looked like either an attempted Assert Dominance or just the knockback. Nonetheless, Assert Dominance still ready to go, and it's a double for Crunty to keep this cart rolling.
Assert Dominance they did try to use it by the path that he took, but just too much damage there at the very end. This Fae Flight and Illusory Rift, I think, going to be really crucial for taking this. They can use the Fae Flight high up on the left side, force the DPS to rotate to the right, which can open up the window area they're in. But Coriel already rotating over, but not contesting the card. It's still going in. He'll have to use it right on the point soon.
This is absolutely brutal now. If you're ChromaSpace, I'm ready for a fight to happen, and nobody's in range. ClownFiesta just roll this one in. A little bit of a flash, but nothing else on the back end of it. I'm looking around just the same as you are, Kresnik. We spent more time on the opening desk than we did in-game for game number 1 as ClownFiesta complete the sweep on Brightmarsh in game 1.
They did have one person ready. I did see the Shaolin looking backwards, waiting to withdraw in, but just, I guess, didn't have it off cooldown, so he couldn't touch in time. I like what Clown did at the very end. I mean, okay, wow. Yes, C9, they didn't go for the objective, but they saw that Coriel rotated right, so they just collapsed on him, and he couldn't go through the doorway to use it. If he used his ult, he would have just stunned 2 people, but still not contested, and the same thing would have happened.
Well, it's near flawless for everyone on ClownFiesta. 1 death pretty much across the board. Ninu only fell twice. Great damage from Nepo. That's good for top in the game. And actually not far off are the ChromaSpace numbers there. But Krez, I think the damage taken chart is where this one starts to tilt a little bit. The highest was around 50,000 for ChromaSpace. Upwards in the 70,000s was one member of ClownFiesta. There's just too much to melt through.
Yeah, I think that just having 2 tanks, having a ROM specifically is like having a Genos on your team. If you're playing against a ROM, your damage stats are going to be inflated, because all he does is soak damage and take aggro like that. I mean, you saw him body blocking 3 people at once earlier. They couldn't kill him. He just stood in front of him and soaked all that damage. You saw him right there, also in the middle of them. So damage stats are going to be inflated when he's on the team, but it'll lead you to a win, even if the stats end up a little bit tilted in one team's favor.
And you look at the way ChromaSpace tried to fight that. I mean, on that left-hand side on the mid-fight, effectively every time, and there was no problem for Crunty just to control that area despite 3, sometimes 4 members looking at him from ChromaSpace. Not to be, though. ClownFiesta take map number 1 over ChromaSpace. Jaguar Falls up next here for map number 2, another flat, space control-y type map, so I'm not sure ChromaSpace, or ClownFiesta, rather, are going to be all that sad that we're headed here for game number 2.
I don't think any Paladins player is sad to go to Jaguar Falls, honestly. I mean, I think I've seen maybe... I remember old Splice used to never play Jaguar Falls, and they were the only team to ever do that. So if you played against them, you just had a free ban. Every other team going to be happy to be playing here. Andro, the first ban, maybe a little targeted after that first pick last time, but Chroma could have taken it for themselves. They have that first pick. They're on that side, but clearly don't want to play with it. And Clown, their bans are probably going to look just about the same. Genos being able to heal through walls on a map with so many corners and so many tight choke points. Always good to get rid of that safe healer if you think you don't need it to win.
Now it's a Ruckus ban to follow up as well. The big change here is Andro banned out instead of the Victor. Now ClownFiesta, this is an interesting spot for them. They can avoid banning the Victor or the Vivian and take the other, which is maybe what they look to do here. Atlas takes a seat alongside the Genos. So now ChromaSpace, kind of counterpoint, but the same point, they now have to decide between this Victor or the Vivian which one they might want to value, and instead it's neither. The Corvus, not picked or banned in game number 1, is going to be locked in first overall here, Chris.
Yeah, I think if they had to pick between Viv Victor, I think the choice here is Viv on Jaguar Falls. You have that sensor drone, and she's also just a little bit better at close range. But the Corvus, to me, makes sense. If your team is going to be split at all, Corvus gives you the flexibility to play and actually have solid heals. With that, you mark people on another lane. Hopefully you can pocket one of them to get that cooldown reduction. If you can't, at least you're getting, 1,600 healing every time you mark it. But Clown, they're starting with the same thing they did last time, minus that Androxus. And our ROM, still a really solid tank composition on these flat, close-range maps that Chroma decided to bring us to round 2 of.
My journey leads me to
I cannot blame them, honestly. I mean, it was so difficult for ChromaSpace in game 1, so why change it here if you're ClownFiesta? I agree with that mentality. Corvus, another Shaolin locked in, hasn't won just yet over here in the PPC in Europe, at least. Picked only a little bit. I think it's Brazil, Krez, where we're seeing a lot of Shaolin over recent weeks. Found some decent success over there in Brazil. And NA a little bit to your point there as well. Shaolin and Maeve, though, start off the damage conversation here for ChromaSpace. I hesitate to say finish because they opted for triple DPS on Brightmarsh. Still available here if they want to move that way. Vivian falls her way to 6th pick for ClownFiesta. That is surprising, but not surprised that she does end up getting picked, especially here on Jag Falls.
Yeah, this is actually a terrifying comp right now from Clown. I feel like in terms of Vivian answers, they don't really have it right now for Chroma. They might be forced into triple DPS again. We'll see if that works. And Vivian's solid into Shaolin when you have that sensor drone to catch him out of his ult. And Willow, again, being played. We know these kind of less mobile blasters can be so great on this map. Faithlight also good for pushing point, just a lot you can get out of it, especially when a dead zone can effectively completely lock out a choke point when your support's main utility comes in healing.
One big thing that was missing from ChromaSpace on Brightmarsh was that kind of sticky tankiness, I guess. Terminus does have that maybe in a little bit over Ashe. Even if you lose, the Reanimate can give you kind of that second chance in a fight, and then a Victor will fall down to 9th pick here in the draft. So we do end up seeing Victor Viv split one way or the other, a little bit later on than maybe I expected, but split nonetheless. Victor going to be great with dealing with that Willow, and then Adamba to round out for some great healing for Rom and Inara, keep those point tanks healthy and alive. But Krez, we were nervous about Willow going into a Leon. We're got to be nervous about Willow going into a Victor again, but ChromaSpace didn't quite have the answers consistently enough, despite some of that long-range confirmable hit scan damage in Game 1.
And I actually think the Willow-Victor matchup is better on Jaguar Falls than the Willow-Leon one was on the last map. There's so much cover you can use. You don't necessarily have to fight him. You can shoot around corners. Victor can struggle on this map if he's under pressure, and that ROM will not let him breathe.
Well, ChromaSpace blanked on Brightmarsh. We'll see if they can at least grab one here, hopefully a win for themselves on Jaguar Falls. It is a very similar composition for ClownFiesta. They're going to stick with that high health point tank pool with some good healing from the Maldamba on the back end. This Vivian could have a field day. You look at the lone tanky target in that Terminus. Everyone else is going to die in the blink of an eye once those Sentinels start coming out. So that's got to be a point of concern maybe for ChromaSpace, trading out effectively into that Vivian once the ultimate is online.
I'm a little confused about the Shaolin talent here if he sticks with Desert Silence. The extra burst really helps you in fights with squishier targets. I get they're going to be being run out by a ROM quite a bit, but the silence, once he gets resilience, which he's already started with, won't really help that significantly, and it doesn't affect the rest of the team that well. I mean, silence a Vivian, she's still a Vivian in your face if she's that close.
Right.
But Clown going to be playing into that no matter what, but taking this far right side, and control seems evenly split. Both teams just chose a side and are playing it.
Well, surprise, surprise, ClownFiesta are going to move that Anar right to the point. And I already like the change here from ChromaSpace. They're going to give something... Okay, never mind. I was going to say a Terminus that can at least contest with the Nara onto the point, but immediately gunned down by Alex, and Nepo falls to a similar fate. Now around the backside goes Cruncy and Excentra. And as soon as this fight started, it's over. ClownFiesta out in control.
I mean, they just dominated that from the start. I think having that nowhere to hide Vivian on the flank to spot out anyone trying to go behind was great. Just have Vivian play defensively, stop the flankers, and not necessarily fight into this potential counter in the Terminus. Not a Siphon Charge actually going to Coriel right now, but an aggressive zone from ClownFiesta should secure this point from, I don't know if there's any way they can get in.
Yeah, I don't think so, and there isn't. Sinzovsky will end up falling on the back end as well, so this is a big snowball chance here for ClownFiesta if they can get the kill onto Nepo, which they sure can. Coriel will tumble as well. At this point, ClownFiesta just want this cart to hurry up. I mean, they are fully in the ChromaSpace base, and the only thing that's holding them back is the cart speed, and ChromaSpace thanking their lucky stars, at least for that one. So they're going to have to zone up a little bit at the back of their base here and group up. They got to coordinate to even fight out of their spawn, much less to try to defend this cart that's making its way on up.
And it's going to be hard for them to even push through these chokes. They can't sneak past anything. They have a
What do you
Vivian
do?
with that long reveal. Cruncy's walking in. Shock can't hide no matter what.
I don't know, he's just walking at him. Cruncy's just rolling his way through. Nepo does burn the ultimate to grab a kill onto Alex, so at least the Vivian is now missing, but now you've got Cruncy who's going to be doing much the same thing, just a little bit less damage per tick. Down goes Coriel, so no more Terminus to contest this cart, and nobody else wants to move in there either. ChromaSpace getting dominated so far today.
Yeah, the one chance that they had to break through, they just got picked off one by Cruncy being so close to the right side. And that long reveal on the Vivian is brutal for them. Shaw, I mean, gets seen by it for 1 second. If he gets knocked back by it, that's 600 damage in 5 seconds. That his mobility doesn't give him any real way to survive. These damage charts kind of leaning towards that Victor, but he's playing against a ROM, I think. Again, to be expected when you have a term siphoning everything and they don't. This Vivian build, I like how people have been kind of flexible in what they're running. Scapegoat, a card that could be good. You don't need it, though, to run this. But just 25% speed on Viv, more than any other character can get in her build. 4-second longer reveal. I think also the only reveal extending card, maybe minus Tyramark, that's left. So much utility in her kit. There's a lot of options for what you can bring out to the game.
Well, the moment this Power Siphon went down last time, Coriel fell, and this time it's just going to be a Dread Serpent that sends him running. Unfortunate for the Terminus. Alex now has those Sentinels. Let's see how he can make them work here. Well played there by Adium. Around the corner, finds the Midnight and the kill. Down onto Alex, but the rest of the fight still going ClownFiesta's way. Nunu has a double, a couple shots away from the triple here, unable to flutter his way forward, but Cruncy's there to clean up the rest. ClownFiesta don't fully capture the point this time around. They do have the chance to zone and maybe get their third point on the board.
I think the most important thing for Chroma right now is get Coriel his ultimate if you can. He's trying to charge it off the ROM right now, and honestly, Gruncy should just leave. Don't give him the chance to get it. They'd want 2 tanks to fight this, but he's stuck siphoning. Still give it to him in this engagement. He might be too far to make it if he gets walled off.
Wow! No, Cruncy, you gotta be careful, man. You're freaking me out. He nearly runs off the map, but instead he finds a flank with Alex around the back. Coriel is gonna use the reanimate this time. Did end up getting that fully charged up. But now you're missing Adium on the back end of the fight as well. Ovim around the side feeds a double kill to Cruncy, who's going to sprint his way through. Now Nepo pinned into the corner. It's going to be a delayed 3 here for Cruncy. Overtime on, overtime off. ClownFiesta pushing for the win.
ROM just causing chaos. When you can't break through the middle of the map immediately because everyone's just getting pocketed by a Damba, the longer that fight takes, the more the ROM that plays patient is going to be able to tear into your backline. But again, this is what happened last time. You can just kind of play this style where you're going deep, but silenced immediately. That's what that Shaw brings, and he couldn't even get any soul fragments.
Seismic crash down to the back. This is the most ChromaSpace-sided fight we've seen really this set. So now they have a chance to move themselves forward and really slow down ClownFiesta, which has been a difficult task throughout what we've seen so far. But look at this counterpunch. It's going to be a Dread Serpent sent out. Nepo's found some good damage. Coriel there to finish off the kill onto Alex. Now around the backside, can Ovim stay alive for the moment? Yes, Ninu gets the kill. Not only onto Ovim, but onto Nepo as well for the double. Volka cleans up Coriel, and suddenly ClownFiesta have tilted the scales right back.
Small misstep. If they had just had their Victor go one step back, just, hey, wait 1 second, I have invincibility behind you. It's like, no, I think I'm good without it. I think I'd rather just respawn. Chroma could have maybe got their Victor out alive and traded at least one more kill and denied this as strong of a snowball that Cruncy have. But an early ultimate looks like just a cleanse that Midnight might also get them a kill.
Oh, Ovim ends up going down. Midnight to start it off, but ClownFiesta has not staggered at all. Nepo Senzovsky pushed into the back of their base, the cart ever moving forward. And wouldn't you guess it, another 4-0 for ClownFiesta. We thought with D69 stepping out, you know, EU might be a little more muddled there in the middle, but looks like ClownFiesta is here to stay.
I mean, Clown is basically just a reforming of
Right.
like what that D69 was before. They're looking like more or less as if it's not already. Right now, ClownFiesta, so look at these stats right now, 9 and 2 for Cruncy. He cleaned up every single kill and took so much pressure off Excentra, he didn't even die.
Yeah, that's tough. 9-2 and 12, 7-3 and 12 for Ninu as well. Excentra, you pointed out, undying. I mean, that is now you're starting to get into like pick ban issue territory if you're ChromaSpace. I mean, you do 66,000 damage and you're still not able to work your way through the health bars of the Inara, of that ROM. Not surprising when combined they soak up 110,000 damage. So all of Nepo's and then some basically here in this game. Not surprising that we're going to look at Cruncy on the back end of things here. But I think now you really do have to look at that, Krez, and the Inara ROM has been way too difficult, and that's somehow an understatement for ChromaSpace to deal with. I think you got to look at one or both maybe here for game number 3.
I think maybe you have to let the Andy through and just focus both your bans on off tanks, honestly, because you don't want him to get the Ruckus, you don't want him to get the ROM. Maybe just get rid of both, see if you can make it work on the next map that Chroma are going to, or just take it themselves. I mean, they lost this game, they could be first pick, ban one, pick the other, and then you can still get rid of that Andro and give them that Corvus that they don't really even seem to prioritize anyway.
You know, it would be one thing if, you know, it was only down to the tanks, but I think good to give a little highlight there to Ninu at the end as well. The Willow back-to-back games and has wreaked havoc now in back-to-back games. Splitstone QWERTY, so a stark contrast to maybe the types of maps we've seen here so far. Verticality king, of course, on Splitstone. So maybe that's the type of edge ChromaSpace need to get themselves a little bit of something moving forward here in Game 3.
I mean, this is another strong Willow map, too, so if Clown want to play that, they can take that out. But I would definitely expect Ruckus to be in the ban column unless Chroma don't want to play it themselves. This is one of his best maps, actually being that off-tank with that vertical space. Maybe they think they don't need to play ROM into us. If he can't climb all the way up, we can play that backline style that we want, and only Ruckus himself could really deal with that. Clown, I expect similar bans. I think one of the Assault Rifle characters probably gone, and more than likely Genos again. EU seems to think that he is the only one that brings that pocket style of play to the table that Corvus can also bring, so they get rid of him. And Chroma, this is where we see if they change up their ban process here to target.
Right. Yeah, they got that first pick, so with ROM and Inara both still available, ChromaSpace either takes away one, both, neither, and maybe select one of them first overall here for themselves. Atlas, of course, very strong in that kind of off-tank type category, able to do great damage, susceptible to taking a lot of damage when those cooldowns are on cooldown, I suppose, but still in a very strong spot here. And then a Strix ban for ClownFiesta. So literally everything that has worked for ClownFiesta still left on the table here. And the Androxus is really what pulls the weight. I wonder if ClownFiesta just immediately go back to Ramanara.
I could definitely see the Inara. The ROM is the only thing I'm not sure about on this map in particular.
Yeah, it's tough on
you have to run like dash distance 5 and sacrifice a lot of your sustain to make it work. But Buck instead will be their first priority. He's got that verticality and potential burst if they decide to run one of those backlines that maybe can't deal with him that well, they could just bounce house right up there, knock him down, and get that reset to get right back out.
Well, it's the first big pivot, really, for ClownFiesta from what's worked for them so far here in this set. And then back to that Inara, so at least a little bit of that near-infallible and maybe literally infallible front line that they've been working with through the first couple of games here so far. And Nara Buck, love it to start off here, Krez. Depending on what you draft for ChromaSpace to kind of sit back onto that high ground, we see Buck contesting usually lava side very well. If he can push through, jump up to the high side as well. Grover, though, sometimes the concern is maybe Grover on Splitstone telegraphs where you're trying to play, could be working towards that bleacher side a little bit more.
You could just play. You could play to rotate though. Put yourself in the middle, and you can kind of heal everything. You just have to be careful about what backline ClownFiesta ends up bringing. If your Andrew might be able to do it though. Andrew and Grover poke can make it work. I like this Makoa pick into the Ashe. EU does not think Khan is good. EU thinks Khan is very bad, being prioritized differently. So this is probably just their Ashe answer, right? Hook her out of her assert dominance, hook her right out of her shoulder bash, deny those cooldowns, and get that solid pocket support that did so well for Clown on Bright Marsh that also has vertical mobility if you use Dimensional Link just to climb up.
Yeah, it's no ROM, but make no mistake, this Makoa is still going to be very difficult to deal with. So the question up to this point is, what do you have to deal with those health bars? Victor has been able to do a great bit of damage. Leon in game number 1 did large amounts of damage as well. The third now look we're going to get from ChromaSpace as an answer to this heavy frontline idea from ClownFiesta is going to be the Vivian. Absolutely there. You get those Sentinels online, those health bars are going to disappear quickly. And then a Willow as well, so you're going to take that one away from Ninu for the first time in this set.
Yeah, I actually really like the double tank shred pick that they have. Triple DPS, something that's kind of falling off, I think, slightly in the meta. It really is map dependent, but this is one where it can work. Splitstone, one of the better maps for it. With the Victor getting picked up by Clown, should be pretty solid into the back lines, but I actually really like Chroma's DPS into that Makoa. I mean, Vivian into Koa. Just dodge the Dredge Anchor, and you will tear his health bar apart.
I think ChromaSpace, really for the first time this set, have drafted themselves good answers to what ClownFiesta are bringing to the table. So this could be the most even matchup we've seen so far here. Could also be the end of ChromaSpace this week if ClownFiesta are able to take it. In just over 30 minutes of set time, ClownFiesta brought us on to a game number 3 here on Splitstone Quarry. Now Alex is going to take the big pivot over to the Victor up on that high ground. It's his job, Krez, to deal with the Willow this game.
Yeah, for sure. Gonna have to find a way to do it. And it is a more open map, so it's possible to do that. I think having that Vic able to take those angles, at least stop him from fighting the Buck, because I think that the Willow dead zone into Buck, into a Nara, especially with a Ying where the main utility is healing, can do a lot. You know, maybe Willow will just stay back as soon as Ninu engages, just dead zone the floor and make him drop down. If he can't clap his hands and heal for like 1,000 in your face, he's not doing what he should be doing his best.
Alex will work his way like he did his backline here. This is where you expect this Buck to kind of hover. They love these third-person games of chicken to start off. Adium is going to get the better of Ninu this time around. Forces out the restore early, but elects to move his contest elsewhere. Going to walk over to bleacher side. Figure that's where a lot of ChromaSpace will be taking these engagements. They have the Grover on their side. Great for healing around those pillars and line of sight breaks. Corio is going to move his way forward onto the point here as well. His job to kind of counter out the capture potential of this. Nara so low as Adium, but they're not going to be able to finish off the kill. A grenade is going to slow down some of that healing as well. Willow from the high ground lobbing out some shots, and Alex is going to turn his eyes to deal with that health bar a little bit as well. A war of attrition. I mean, ChromaSpace have to be comfortable with the way it started until Buck leaps his way in. Down goes Nepo. Adium is going to end up falling as well. That's the shoulder bash from Corio, but he'll only find as far as the barrel of Ninu's gun, who has a double. ClownFiesta broken sort of the no man's land there in the middle and are building up the percentage.
I mean, that was just great at the end. Force out the Blossom. If you don't get hit by the Cripple Axe, they don't get the reset from that Fatalis card in the loadout. You know you have a time to go in. Get one person low. That's enough for your Buck to engage. Cruncy maybe overstepped, but lack of shell spin distance actually keeps him alive, but looks like they still have a touch.
Oh, Corio is able to shoulder bash onto the point here, but immediately goes down. Faithlight for ChromaSpace could bring them back in here, but somebody's got to get a touch. It's Adium this time, and the dash is enough to keep him alive, as well as some good healing from the backline. Cruncy ends up going down to Ovim. Whirlwind is going to keep Nepo alive. Ninu is going to get gunned down by Nepo as well, but somebody's got to get a touch. ChromaSpace arguably winning that fight, but not in the places that count, and that's map control. ClownFiesta grab point number 1.
And that's why cap time wins your rounds. I mean, assuming ClownFiesta didn't have as much cap time as they did, right? That fight is a win for Chroma. Like you said, they just play it slow and they make it work. But they get forced in, and they traded lives for it constantly, and it still kept them in the fight. With what their DPS were able to do, just not enough as the fight ended up running down. Buck Wild traded on the right, but immediately countered, well, followed up actually by the Illusory Rift.
Oh man, Adium can out-DPS the Buck with the healing at his back as well. The Ying and the Illusory Rift notably doing a fantastic job keeping ClownFiesta right where they're at. I mean, this is where you pick Splitstone to kind of slow things down. You need this defense to go your way, and assert dominance will help ChromaSpace here, but Corio, low health, kind of left alone onto the high ground. And a cursed arm up and over from Adium won't find much damage either. Corio ends up dropping down to Alex, so ClownFiesta now a small opening to move forward, but it's a full-on disengage from ChromaSpace, and this cart's going to keep moving.
They just have to hope they don't get staggered out here. If they lose anybody, it would have been better to just die on the cart. Mostly okay, Ovim just taunting and waiting for his cooldowns here, but look at that dive by Cruncy.
Oh!
Go out of it, followed by the seismic crash.
That's a fantastic engage. Cruncy a double, but a punch from Adium will grab the kill onto Ninu. It's a slow 3 for Cruncy around the corner. Could be number 4. Oh, the shell spin sets up the kill for Alex. This cart is going to likely roll its way in here. Oh, but it's a little slow. The hook up and over. Going to get slowed down there. Like maybe Accenture outplayed his own teammate just a little bit. A barrage from the backline from Alex is going to melt down Corio. And with that, melt down ChromaSpace's chances of a defense. ClownFiesta go up 2.
Dave, I just woke up in a coma from last year. I'm just so happy to see my favorite tank Makoa still getting picked and performing really well. It's crazy how the meta hasn't changed other than maybe that backline, but no, Cruncy's doing a fantastic job on this Makoa, a character that I made a tier list recently, and I put him pretty far down on it, I think, from how he looks in the meta. But when you can play him as this engagement tank, use that ult to kind of just run through, he can do a lot when pressure is the name of the game.
Well, Krez, if you're just now waking up from 2019, boy, do I have a year to catch you up on. So,
well, you want to go get dinner, Dave, anywhere?
Yeah, no, that's kind of where this one starts. Unfortunately,
okay.
not likely here. We might have the time as we take a quick pause before jumping back into the game here. But, Krez, you start to look back at ChromaSpace in the mid-fight there, then kind of the full-on backpedal. It's just been this constant pushing from ClownFiesta, a slight disengage to draw you out, and then the immediate counter punch back in. It seems like the pace of this game, and Game 1 and Game 2 for that matter, has just been driven consistently by ClownFiesta, and maybe due to the picks they have on their side.
You can decide the pace of the game when you're playing this double tank. You have the health pool to play reactively or proactively, and Clown, are playing proactively. They're waiting for their moments, they're poking, but as soon as they see it, they're like, all right, well, we have a slight opening, let's just take it, let's just go. Right. Run him down, make it work. I think that's why they've been able to do it, and Chroma really haven't. People were saying, oh, not a lot of changes, maybe we're still in this triple DPS meta, but those buffs to the off tanks really opened the door for actually the 2-2-1 style to come back and let teams really just play that super aggression that they like to do.
Well, Corio is 0-5 right now here in this game. I mean, very difficult, don't get me wrong, tough for this Ashe to stay relevant under all the damage and the sustainability that ClownFiesta have. But the triple DPS hasn't worked up to this point. You wonder if a little extra tankiness somewhere in the draft for ChromaSpace may have been able to help here. Looks like we've got things all figured out, so we jump right back in and gonna get into the action here for point fight number 2, potentially point number 3 here for ClownFiesta. Cruncy is immediately gonna use that Ancient Rage. A Whirlwind is gonna slow down the engagement here. Nepo doing his best to melt through that health bar, but Accenture is there to turn around some damage. Ovim is gonna flutter his way down, and ChromaSpace seemingly have finally found themselves a winning fight.
Yeah, good for them, I think, just showing why the Ancient Rage really can't do what you wanted to do before. I mean, just swinging at a Vivian shield, getting shredded for more than half of his HP. Tough to look at. Chroma might have to get in. If Clown can get in, maybe if they make some space right now, and they do. I think on the far right side, mounting in, but they need to find something else.
Yeah, I think you gotta win this one if you're ChromaSpace. You finally set yourself up well. You immediately lose Adium, but you trade back a kill onto Ninu, so 1-for-1 engagement so far. Corio's had a tough time staying alive up to this point here in this game. Maybe a better chance now onto the mid-fight. They've reached 85%. ClownFiesta, though, looking to counter-punch back and assert dominance, just 6% away from maybe changing around this mid-fight. Corio is going to bring that hook right back in. Off the point, though, he is going to lock down Accentra with the assert dominance off to the side, and Nepo, Adium combined for a couple. This Ashe doing a fantastic job of controlling a lot of this space. A seismic crash on the back end is going to bring us right to one more pause here, Kresnik. But all things considered, a better fight up to this point. We still don't know how this mid-fight ends, but a better fight up to this point for ChromaSpace.
Even after giving up that ground on the right side, just I think having the assert dominance to answer from Coriol, just getting that ultimate charge back up, Invincible Ashe is always going to do well, especially when you put Makoa under that much pressure. I mean, they pick Makoa as kind of a counter to this Ashe, right? You think, oh, well, we'll just counter all of her stuff, but she's running Fortress Breaker. That shield's going to be in the way most of the time.
Right.
And the ult, if it still gets the stun, most of the time you're still getting value out of it. If you're a smart player, if you're in the PPC, you are a smart player, you're not going to use it to live at 100 HP when a Makoa is just standing, waiting for you to finish casting it.
That's right. And, you know, it really seemed like just a matter of time before the Androxus started to swing a little bit here. The Vivian finally, I think, despite doing good damage, had the ability to chip away some of those high health pools. I mean, it's definitely the best look we've seen up to this point for ChromaSpace as well. Looking now on my side screen, Grover's still on a 9 streak, so Senzovsky was able to stay alive. There's been so much dive onto that back line. It's just been so tough for ChromaSpace. And hey, the conclusion of the fight is for ChromaSpace. So now in Game 3, they're able to lock down their first point of the set so far, and now a double kill from Adium. Krez is going to keep that ball rolling.
Yeah, Adium cleaning up 2 helps significantly, but they can't go too much further because Accentra just walked in lower house and caught the people that were still a little bit tagged. But Chroma, they can wait. They have a little bit of verticality with Andro and Willow to actually make it up top and catch them out. I guess they don't even need that verticality if Crunchy's going to be sitting waiting around that corner, not seeing him coming.
Yeah, Crunchy thought he was being sneaky there, but instead he loses half of his health for his troubles. But maybe it's a bit of a bait here. ChromaSpace just walk into a pile of damage from ClownFiesta. Senzovsky is going to pick up the lone one. He's going to vine himself away. 9 streak did end up getting cleaned up here. So it's kind of mid-fight round 2 now for ClownFiesta as they're going to walk up, take the ground here right towards the center of the map. And I like it. It's usually the question of how much space can you make up. And I like ClownFiesta not being overly aggressive because something like this can happen. If they play into your backline, although that's going to happen regardless of how much ground you make up. Corio not able to work his way through here. Small collapses. Crunchy's going to have to shell spin away, and the last shot from Ovim's going to get it done, as well as Nepo getting rid of Accentra. So now no more tanks for ClownFiesta. Double kill from Adium as well. Keeps this cart rolling, and suddenly ChromaSpace have a chance to tie.
The suicide play from Crunchy might have worked. I mean, he rolled it just to get Ashe on the other side of her shield, but the rest of the damage, maybe not ready for it. Alex had kind of been disengaging from that Fae Flight, perfectly used, I think, to keep up that aggression. But another hook connects on the right side as they try to make more room, but they're not cleaning up on anything. Ninu's so low.
Oh, can you get the kill? Yes, you can. And for Corio, this cart inching ever closer. Accentra is just around the side, is going to drop his way down the wall off of cooldown just in time. Seismic Crash might stun down too. It sure does, but the shielding from Corio mitigates so much of the damage that might have been able to change something around. 5 seconds left. Corio needs to stay alive, but he's not able to do so. Nepo has some good damage here. Ancient Rage is going to get used this time around. Ninu with the double. Adam keeps him in the fight with one of his own onto the buck, trying to dance around the contest range by ChromaSpace. Time to get back in. Overtime is going to end up falling down here. Senzovsky, the last line of defense, overtime reset. But that's just to grab the kill onto the Grover. Close. A game of margins there. ClownFiesta hold on. And Krez, they only have to burn a couple of their ults, though. Important.
I think the tank ult specifically being used there was smart. Seismic Crash had to be used. That's the one I would have rather saved, but that was the one that was more desperately trying to hang on there. But the Ancient Rage, I mean, we saw what happened with it last round. He kind of just swung on a Vivian who tore his health bar apart. No way he could stay in there. So maybe just use that for the defense when you know it's going to be good, and then they're not going to know when you get it back. He's running Leviathan anyway. That's giving him a accelerated ultimate charge rate as it is. He might be able to get it back if he has a good enough mid, and Crunchy's been performing on this kind of not seen as much pick anymore.
That's right. This is the chance for ClownFiesta to push this game to a point where we won't have to worry about Cruncy finding as much value as he might have early on here, but it's going to be difficult for ChromaSpace when Accenture's just kind of free capping. I say that as everyone from ChromaSpace at once turn their barrels towards the Inara. So now a 5v4 disadvantage for ClownFiesta. Cruncy's able to find the kill, even things up here, but look at Ninu, completely counters out the Fae Flight from Ovum that was used indoors there, and Alex is going to get the kill onto Adium as well. All these kind of solo engagements going the way of ClownFiesta.
Thanks to the Illusory Rift, too. I mean, you don't usually see Buckwild guarantee a kill like that, but it's being used at a perfect time, I think, and that global healing presence, it shows why Ying is getting prioritized over some other healers.
This might be it for ChromaSpace in this set. 75% for ClownFiesta. Ninu going to control the space up onto the high ground. Accenture's going to drop right back down here to assert dominance used off of the point. Ovum gets the kill, but nobody's in range. They stalled out to try to fight just a little bit too soon. It looks like ClownFiesta get away with another one there, but I don't know if you can call it that. Dominance throughout this set. Only drop a single point all day, and they complete the 3-0.
It is kind of sad, though, I think, for Chroma at that very end, just seeing Ovum floating in range just because the momentum carried him an inch forward. Timing just not there. I think Coral maybe thought he had it, and Ovum just got the memo a little bit too late that wasn't going to be the case. All those assists from Bolka, I mean, I was talking about that global presence of Ying, and you can see it here. I mean, 27 assists. That's the I think it's only like 9 short of the overall kills they got in that entire game.
Yeah, quick math, so likely wrong, around 34, 35 kills total for ClownFiesta. So yeah, missing out on only 7 or 8 there is Bolka. ChromaSpace much better off in this one, Krez, but a lot of that much better off, granted, is, 1 point from what ClownFiesta were able to do in the rest. Here are your updated standings. After this matchup here over in EU, ClownFiesta still on top. Of course, we have to wait for Yoinkers and the rest of the league here in EU to play their games to fully get the picture. So Yoinkers trying to keep pace, but even with the clean 3-0, still going to be 1 map behind. ChromaSpace, it's kind of that inconsistent. There are some fights that look really good, some fights that don't. Always going to be tough fighting up against ClownFiesta, though. Yoinkers against Mixalazub, that's a chance to snag the 3-0 there and try to keep pace with that top team. Over in Brazil, Kresnik, Tempest team versus Fatal Ambition. What do you like in that matchup?
I like that one of those teams, I mean, barring very unfortunate circumstances, one of them will finally have a win, Dave. We can gas them up a little bit more than they were. Both teams 0-4. One of them has to win going into this. But the main console team in Brazil versus this team that's really been grinding scrims and Tempest team and working their way up. I'm excited to see it, I think, seeing Fatal, bottom team, fighting against this other team that battled their way into the PPC in the first place.
I absolutely have no favorites in that matchup. I'm not allowed to, but Fatal Ambition has just gotten so close so many times, even against some of these top teams, to finding some of the map wins, finding some of the game wins. So maybe this is their week to finally get that ball rolling. That's what I'm looking out forward to. Right after this break, Tempest team versus Fatal Ambition. Stick around.